How's it going, everybody? In January, the Squeezebox did a video segment called The Local Squeeze on a newly formed band called Flabbergastor, which included Buggy Benson, Jonny Moss, Logan McDaniel, and Dustin Scott Haggerty. The band was competing in a Battle of the Bands competition at Common Chord, a local nonprofit, and ended up winning, which won them a seat at this year's Summer Camp Music Festival. I was really impressed with the musicianship of the band, and I was extremely excited to be one of the first channels to get footage of what I thought at the time was the next big thing in the Quad Cities. Since then, there have been some things going on behind the scenes that are a bit alarming to say the least. It's my understanding that there's been a split in the band, and a related business, Stellar Sounds LLC, has had a split between business partners. That all being said, I'm just a bystander. None of this is ultimately my business. But given the nature of the accusations and also given the current legal proceedings involving intellectual property, I felt it to be the most moral action to take the video down. That all being said, I wanted to get a better idea of what exactly is going on with this, and it just so happens that I have Jonny Moss here to tell his side of the story. So, without further ado, here's my interview with Jonny Moss, former bassist, writer, and composer for Flabbergastor. Thanks for agreeing to talk to me.
Anytime, man.
There's a lot of stuff going on, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, there's been a little bit of a primer. I read a few things. I just wanted to say, that evening, whenever I recorded, I just want to say, granted, regardless of all the drama, I really like the musicianship of the band in general. And, to later kind of hear about how, some of that is all of that or whatever is your, material, I just kind of felt like I needed to take that down. So I've removed that video, at your request. I reached out to you, but, you know, um, so I guess let's just get started. Let's transport back to January 2023, a few months ago. Flabbergaster played. I did the video, you guys, kind of last minute, and you guys won Battle of the Bands. Kind of what exactly transpired after that kind of caused some of the situation that we're seeing online right now?
Well, I guess the situation at hand really comes down to me and my business partner Logan, kind of exchanging words with each other. At one point I considered him my best friend. We were like brothers. I still have a lot of love for Logan to this day. A lot of this I'm feeling like is really unnecessary at this point, but this all just kind of stemmed from just like normal brother conversations. That was like, hey man, I want you to do better as a person. We're messing things up as a business and stuff, and it escalated into a little bit of an argument. And I'm just gonna say one thing: that Stellar Sounds, my company, Stellar Sounds LLC, had is a completely separate entity from the band that I was playing in, Flabbergaster. They were two separate entities. We got into an argument over something that involved Stellar Sounds.
Right.
So that's kind of where it stemmed. And from that point, I really have been just trying to take the high road in a lot of the situations. I haven't been trying to address a lot of the Facebook drama. As a matter of fact, over the last year, I'm just trying to change my life as much as I can. And I feel like that's distracting me from a lot of things. So at this point, I'm upset because I'm not a really good friend at the end of the day. Like I said, Logan and me, we're really good friends. We were really close, and at this point, man, I'm just trying to, do a lot of damage control on a business that I'm trying to keep afloat because I have a lot of, I guess, media attention now out there on Facebook and stuff that's gaining a lot of popularity and stuff. That's costing me jobs and other things, now. And I hate saying it, but now I feel like it's becoming a legal matter that I have no control over because my intellectual property is being stolen and things of that nature.
Right. So when did you first start noticing that something was wrong or, that something weird was going on?
Actually, it was very abrupt. It was literally everything. We had band practice one day. Everyone was all hugs and me and Logan went and we did a job one night and we got into an argument on the ride home. The next morning I woke up and I guess without talking to me, I was kicked out of the band that I started and you know, um, have had to deal with a lot of this now at this point. I feel like a lot of a lot of. You said you really enjoyed the set that we did at summer camp. I took a lot of pride in that set personally,
Yeah.
because we personally worked really hard to build that set. I also feel it's very unfair to other bands that participated in summer camp Battle of the Bands that we won this and we're not being true as Flabbergastor going and competing in
Right.
summer camp. We're taking a uh, a fake Flabbergastor at this point and just trying to patch things together. And I don't feel this fair to a really good friend of mine, CJ Parker, who had a really good band that night. And I feel like we're taking something out of their mouth that they should have won if this was going to be the outcome. You
Sure.
know?
So, I mean, beyond that, you said that there's some intellectual property involved. I mean, how I assume some of these songs are personal to you.
Yes, as a matter of fact, most of these songs, three or four of them right off the top of my head that we were recording, we're not even originally Flabbergasted. They were originally recorded back in 2007 with my buddy Richard Vogt, Tumbleweed, on drums, in a band that we used to play in. You know, it kind of piggybacked off that idea, and now at this point, those became Flabbergastor songs that are on DistroKid and on Apple Music, and those were my songs that were recorded back in 2007 at this point. And as a matter of fact, all the songs that Flabbergastor has recorded or had recorded as a demo, um, half of them weren't even recorded with Buggy Benson and Dustin on guitar. So at this point, they're selling a fake product. They're selling you something that's not true Flabbergastor. They're selling you something that's patched together at this point. So
So, I guess, how does that even work? Like if like say the Textures, which is a local band. I don't know any of them, so I'm just saying like I kind of in the music scene, but I'm kind of also a little bit removed from the music scene. I'm kind of just starting out. But the Textures, I'm pretty sure they won, some Battle of the Bands or whatever. If half that band just kind of was filled in by another band, I mean, I just don't think that would be fair.
no,
And especially when it's a case where, they, that material was yours,
right. Well, and first off, I don't think it's fair to anyone in our band because we're putting everybody else on the spot. And first off, I don't think it's fair to anybody that competed to try to win that spot. We're taking that from somebody else that deserved it, and we're giving Flabbergastor now is giving a fake product to the people that is not Flabbergastor.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, can I say this on camera? That Flabbergastor, the name was designed by me, the logo was designed by me, a lot of the things were designed by me, and at this point, they've just kind of stolen it and are making it theirs. So
And this was something completely unrelated to the band too, which
yes, it had something to do with my company, Stellar Sounds LLC. It had nothing to do with Flabbergastor. It was an argument that me and my business partner got into over business things.
sure.
Which some things were, I'll be man enough to admit that some things were probably said that probably shouldn't have been said on both ends, but we're men at the end of the day and we handle our arguments. We don't turn our backs on each other and start a heated Facebook,
Right.
argument over it. First off, and I'm just going to say this. If people think that they're going to get me to respond on Facebook, I'm going to take the high road every time because once again, I'm trying to change myself as a person. And all this is just distracting me from my main goal. And my main goal is to have a successful company. And if at this point, like, I'm just trying to do a lot of damage control over a lot of people that are trying to make my business hard. But business is going great. I'm just going to say that. And I stand by and guarantee the bands that we are working with that we're tightening everything up and we are still running and active as we speak. So if you guys need sound gigs, let me know and we can book something out.
Heck yeah. So, just the last little thing here about kind of like how the band was formed or whatever. What were the original band members? Was it?
The original band members were Logan and I were really the original core members. Logan and I were kind of the basis of everything. And then it kind of shifted multiple members through the time. We've had Justin Bain played with us for a tiny while. We had, like I said, Cooper Hopkins play guitar. We had Richard Vogt playing drums for a little while. And then we hired Buggy Benson as kind of, because Richard couldn't do it at the last second. like because we were trying to compete in the summer camp battle of the bands, and people's work schedules were conflicting, so we hired in Buggy to fill in that drumming spot to
Okay.
compete. So
So yeah. Okay. I just figured it was worth clarifying that. So, what have you done to kind of protect your business, from the public, and how
get
what's the plan moving forward?
get everything in writing. Contracts, 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 contracts. That's the biggest mistake I made as far as a business owner, as far as doing anything business wise, is I mixed friendship with business and I did not get a whole lot of things in writing, which I regret now. So that's the biggest thing I had going forward. Everything's going to be in writing. And just to secure everything, and I'm tightening everything up as far as like how I'm doing things, because obviously there's people that are gunning for, have a personal vendetta against me that are trying to obviously harm my business at this point. So I'm just taking the steps necessary to protect my business in any way, shape, and possible, which means hiring accountants, hiring bookkeepers, whatever I have to do to make sure my business stays afloat, during this kind of attack.
So, would you say that, like, moving from Flabbergastor now to Stellar Sounds, where this kind of originated, you know, can you give like a little bit of context of kind of like how that was formed, and the involved parties in that?
Stellar Sounds LLC. It was formed last year in August. 100% bought and paid for by yours truly. I saved up a bunch of money last a couple years ago, and I paid for all the LLC filings, all the state registration fees, even down to a bunch of the sound gear pretty much most of the sound gear that we had, the van that we bought, the tax title registration, pretty much everything was bought and paid for by me. I made the mistake of allowing my friend to come into business with me because I saw potential in him and I liked what he did. That in turn has caused me a lot of headache over the past 6 months, and I hate saying it like that because my friend is also let's just say he hasn't been as business oriented as I kind of wanted him to be, and like he's dropped the ball on a few times, and it's cost me money like multiple times, and that's mainly what our arguments were kind of about, which in turn kind of spiraled into what you're seeing today.
Right.
Now I'm being accused of stealing gear, and I think most people know that I try to carry myself with integrity, and I'm not in the business of stealing people's equipment. As a matter of fact, at one point, I set a bunch of Logan's personal equipment in my garage, and and messaged him to come pick it up, and he came and picked it up, and then he also brought Buggy to my house, which I have a video on my phone if anyone wants to clarify and see it, of Buggy showing up to my house with a gun hanging out of his pocket, and the only reason he didn't get prosecuted is because they couldn't prove it was an actual gun because all they could see was the handle and the outline. So there's that. It's becoming a little bit out of control. I'm just going to say this one more time. I have a pregnant girlfriend at home right now, and I do not need people running around my house with guns hanging out of their back pocket. That makes me feel unsafe.
Yeah.
I never thought music would come to this.
Yeah, I agree. So ultimately, did the whole split with Stellar Sounds, was it amicable? Is there money still owed between parties, or how did that all end up?
Okay. I'm not really too comfortable discussing like the finances of
Okay,
Stellar
that's
Sounds.
understandable. Yeah.
But the basic concept of it is there was a bunch of equipment that Logan and I purchased together, about $1,500 worth of equipment, and it's actually valued probably at about $3,000 worth of equipment. And upon him leaving, he demanded that he just get all of the equipment. Upon him wanting to leave the company, he just demanded that he get all the equipment back. Which at first, and I have messages to prove this, I was very cordial about this. I said, yes, you can get whatever gear that you have coming back, but I'm not gonna let you shut my business down. So I wasn't gonna let him get all my speakers and all the stuff that I bought and paid for. And at that point, it spiraled into a Facebook argument. Now I guess I'm stealing people's equipment and stuff like that. And whenever he wants to come grab his personal equipment, it's sitting right in my garage. Be my guest.
Yeah. So you've had a communication channel open for him to go over and get a hold of you, or like, is there somebody that he could get a hold of?
There,
You
there,
know?
there was a line of communication open until the buggy showed up to my house with a gun. Then
Yeah.
at that point, I blocked everybody involved, including everybody in the band, anybody that had anything to do with any of that situation. Because at this point, um, I don't need any of that in my
Right.
life. I have a kid on the way. I don't need people showing up to my house with a gun.
Sure.
So I don't want anyone involved with that.
Okay. So, do you have anything that you want to say to like Logan, Dusty, or excuse me, Buggy, Dustin? I called somebody Dusty. That's funny. Do you have something to say to them directly?
Um, I, I'll say to this much too. I love all you guys. Uh, it kind of hurts me that it's kind of came to this point, but um, hopefully we can all be men and work this out like men should, and just be respectful to each other, and at this point, like I just wish that the nonsense would kind of stop. I don't need this in my life at this point. I'm kind of over it. I've gotten to a thing where like it's a huge distraction in my life, and I'm not willing to pay any more attention to it. So um, I'll see you guys around. Like,
Yeah.
I love you guys. Like, there's no hard feelings. I don't know why you guys are being this way towards me. That's the way I feel about it. So
Okay. Well, appreciate you coming over and speaking
thank you for
your
having
truth,
me.
and I just want to kind of like, I want to make like the intent here very clear. Is like, I don't know pretty much any of these people. I barely even know you. You obviously have played a gig with me, and practiced a few times, playing bass. But ultimately, the thing that made me want to specifically reach out is this whole aspect of there being intellectual property. I think that, if anything, if somebody wants to go over and have a Flabbergastor band and it's not the same members, that's one thing. But when you're taking somebody's, personal stories, even, if you look at the lyrics, it's like, I don't know. You can just tell that you wrote those. Like, there's no,
Just want to say, I'm sorry to cut you off, but if you really watch our set from the Summer Camp Battle of the Bands and listen to our lyrics, none of them guys have been to prison. None of them guys have ever been in a fight. 90% of those songs are about my life. And that's all
yeah.
I really have to say about that.
Okay.
So
So that's why I reached out, and I'm glad that I have the opportunity to at least, if there's something that's done at the end of the day, at least you can retain those.
I appreciate that. It means a lot, man. At least, because I feel like it's few and far between the people that are actually, on my side at this point. So I really appreciate it.
Heck yeah, man.